Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think, can you see it that side now? I'm recording something.
Yeah.
Another little
News recording recall.
There you go, you see. It's more disturbing if you're the woman at the other end. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Supernatural Strength channel, and for those of you who are new to the channel, we are deep inside the minds of the greatest arm wrestlers in the world, and a little bit of a point of difference today, because we've had a number of comments from guys that have said, Neil, love the show, but we'd like to see guys who are very much current arm wrestlers. I was a little bit gutted because I thought Paul Lynn and Justin Bishop are current, but one of the guys that I think is unarguable is very current, very now, and needs to be heard, needs to be seen, needs to be recognised, is the man that joins me on the call right now. And the other thing we've just been discussing before we went out live was this fella's name, okay? Because everybody will know him as Mindaugas Tarasaitis. Everybody calls him that. But there's some nuances around it, and I wanted to just dig into that with Mindaugas before we started things off. So, Mindaugas, just tell everybody how you say your name, how you sort of pronounce it.
So it should be pronounced Mindaugas Tarasaitis. The surname is normally pronounced well, except I don't like how people say it Mindaugas. It sounds a bit weird in Lithuanian. So more pressure on the letter N.
Okay, so it's Mindaugas.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
Really mind, it's just a small difference.
Well, there's two good things about that. Okay, number one, you've now educated everybody. We were talking about Israel Adesanya, and him saying that it's Adesanya and not Adesanya. And you said, obviously, there, yeah, but Adesanya sounds cooler.
Well, what sounds cooler in this case?
I'm going to say probably, I'm going to say Mindaugas. I think probably sounds better. You know, if you're announcing the name, probably Mindaugas, because you've got three clear breaks. But yeah, at the end of the day, mate, you're the guy, so you got to have your name right, mother fluffer. That's the main thing. So it looks like you're in work. Are you guys back over? You're open and back in?
Yeah, I'm just not in my office, just next to it, one of the meeting rooms.
Okay, mate, no problem. Yeah, it's been extremely hot over here throughout today in the UK. Extremely hot. We rarely get this kind of humidity and heat at this time of year, but let me tell you now, really grim day today. You know, when it's close and sticky as hell, not good. So, with me being a bit of a fat dude, sweating like a chip, mother fluffer. So I've got the water, and we can settle in.
Yeah, me too. It's probably the last warm day anyway, so we should enjoy it.
We'll drink to that one, mate, without a doubt. So, mate, I wanted to start things off as we tend to do in this show with just giving people a bit of a background on you now, your status in the sport, what you've achieved in the sport, so people can sort of, those who don't know you, can get an indication of the level you're at. So just give us sort of your titles, your main accolades in the sport, mate, where you're from and where you are now.
Not again. I'm always bad at remembering this title. Normally I would never really put any information like that in my mind. I would just forget it. But okay, let's see. Zloty is considered a big tournament, and it's nice to win that one. I never really managed to win WAF Worlds, only Europeans. So I only got like second place a couple times after Daniil Prokopchuk and after Artur Makarov. Both
who are exceptional. Daniel's one of my personal favourite arm wrestlers in the world. I think he's a phenomenal puller. Yeah. Phenomenal puller. Very, very well-rounded, extraordinarily strong, great arm wrestler. Really is. So, second in the world, mate. You got to hold your head up on that.
On the WAF, I'm of course just coming up as I would hope. So the biggest achievements are still probably in the future.
I believe so.
What else? I had a couple of very fun trips around the world in Japan, China, US, Arnold's. I think those trips really made arm wrestling worth it. Like, it's so fun to travel around the world.
Mm-hmm. And how old are you now, Mindaugas? Mindaugas, how old are you now? Let's. I'm forgetting already.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
So I'm 29.
So you're 29 years old. Years old, and you've been competing for 12 years. Is that correct? Around about.
Correct. Yeah.
So, what was the sort of beginnings for you, mate? Were you into other sports in your early life? Was arm wrestling your first real passion as a sport?
Okay, so let's go back in time, right? Let me think.
Yeah, let's do this thing.
I was always very into sports, so arm wrestling was for sure not the first one. It's probably the last one. Okay. But let me see. Like I did karate, I did many other things, swimming. In general, just a very always about athletics and. Running and everything else.
Did you compete in sport karate, or did you just train for the sport? What was your?
Yeah, whatever I did, I would always compete. So karate and also swimming. And I was always winning. Never really in the back somewhere. I was kind of whatever I did, I was always pretty good at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it mostly is because now, since you said we will do the show, I was thinking, what should I say? So, I think the reason behind my success was having a very good brother, 2 years younger.
2 years younger, okay.
2 years younger.
Interesting.
But also very competitive. So, the whole childhood was spent together, and whatever we did, you're not only just doing it, you can always see another guy doing it, and if he's doing it better, of course, you will try to improve yourself.
Yeah.
So we played everything, all the games, from sports to computer games to some chess or something, and we became good at everything, I would say. So a lot of confidence came out of that.
Sure.
So then, whatever you do, you just try to you play it as another game. Would it be arm wrestling or would it be swimming? You try to figure out the strategy how to be the best.
Yeah, but you make a really interesting point about the brothers thing. I mean, obviously we see that in so many sports, and in strength sports you've got guys like the Stoltmans, or closer to home for you, the Lalas brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, super
Lalas
strong
brothers
guys.
are from my hometown, by the way. Lalas
really?
Yeah,
okay.
Same hometown.
No problem. And in arm wrestling from your country, the Grigaitis brothers. Two are great. If anybody out there hasn't met the Grigaitis boys, those are some cool I love those lads. They are great guys. Really, really, really stout individuals. I'm a massive fan of those guys. How are you doing, lads? If you're out there watching, if you do catch it up, you tight lines as well. Good fishermen. But
yeah, good
I was going to say, the Stoltmans in strength, we've also seen in things like soccer, the Neville brothers, who used to play for Manchester United, and the list goes on and on. Yeah, so it's really, really good point, that, mate. I've never heard that made before, and it's very interesting. And how could we possibly miss the Brzezinks?
Oh yeah, as well.
John and Bill. I mean, Bill, the younger brother.
So somehow it just helps to have a good competition throughout your life.
Were you always that guy then that was, everything you did with your brother was a team? Or was it just you and him? He was always your hardest adversary. And the most serious win ever is against your brother. And it's you can go to Worlds, but you want to beat your brother's ass more.
No. If we compete against someone else, we are a team. Mm-hmm. But then if it's just two of us, and it was just two of us for quite some time. So then of course we just go against each other.
Did you have any other siblings, mate? Any sisters? Any other brothers, younger or older?
I have one sister. She's 13 years younger, so just turned 16 now.
Right. Okay.
So quite a bigger gap. Not the same. How to say, interaction and everything. So.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
And what about sort of your parents? Were they very sporty people, or were you the first one in the family really to go into that environment?
Good you reminded me. So parents, not connected to any sports at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a very good grandfather.
Oh, okay.
From my mother's side.
Mm-hmm.
That guy was very, very good. Like he was, first of all, just one of his accomplishments I can mention. He could still do handstands and walk on his hands easily at the age of 66, which is, I think, quite impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very
impressive
also throughout his life. And since we spent a lot of time every summer at his place, at his garden and everything. So he made a lot of, he made this thing, pull-up bar for us. So that's where we started doing pull-ups, and then he even made a rope to climb. Awesome. So that was awesome. I think he pushed us into sports a lot.
Was he gymnastics background? He sounds like he's big into his calisthenics.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm not sure, but I'm sure he did something in gymnastics. I just don't remember what was it then.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive, being able to walk on your hands at 66 years of age.
Yeah.
I mean, that's mega. Cannot knock it. And they always say that. I
cannot fail him. I have to do the same at the same age, so.
Yeah, you're going to be chasing that record, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm chasing it.
So have you done a lot of that kind of training in your own? I mean, we see with Janis Amolins, another Baltic, very, very strong Baltic puller. He's big into that as well, into the sort of calisthenics, and he does an enormous amount of pull-ups and one-handed pull-ups. Is that been something that you've incorporated into your training from an early age then, because of your grandfather's influence?
Yeah, somehow, since I remember once me and my brother had a bet if I could reach, I think it was 25 pull-ups. Maybe at the time I could only do 15, and I said, okay, after this summer I will do 25. So, and my brother, I think we bet €15 or something. So it was a serious bet. And then I did it after the summer. And afterwards, we just always kept doing it. Pull-ups, muscle-ups and everything. It kind of became part of my identity, I would say. And I remember we could do it from the age 8 or 9 or 10. We could already do 30 or even 40 pull-ups.
That's mega. That is mega.
And then, of course, if you spend all your teenage years doing those pull-ups, your joints and hands grow in a bit different way.
Sure. 100% in a different way, completely. How much of it do you think was genetic with you, though, mate, when you first started? I mean, why I sort of drawn this is you spoke a moment ago about the fact that everything you did, you excelled at, you won, you did really well. Do you think you came in with a high level of natural athleticism?
No, I'm pretty sure it's just a normal kid. Take away the pull-ups, take away all the practice on every sport, and it's just a normal boy, So I'm pretty sure, without growing up with sports, I would end up being just a simple guy. So.
Do you have natural coordination, Mindaugas? Is that something that you're sort of, can you?
What do you mean by?
Yeah. If we go to a disco, right, we walk in the door, me and you, we both look the balls, right? We walk in, we scan the room, a couple of ladies come over. Obviously, they like the fat one, but I say,
Of course.
I'm going to go get a drink, and I'm going to leave you with my friend Mindaugas. He's going to show you some stuff. And are you comfortable going out and busting moves on the dance floor? Is that your thing?
I think my mom forced me to do it for a year when I was 7 or 8, doing some, how is it called, dancing, but it's how is it called? I don't even remember. Not the traditional type, but,
like body popping or break dancing or that
something
kind of.
like that,
yeah.
Not my style at all, no.
No.
I can do it if I need to get a girl, but when I get it, it's over. I'm not gonna do it again.
Little story for you here, Mindaugas. Little story. We're going to just meander off for a second.
Sure.
So I can't remember which World Championships it was, but I'm thinking it was Virginia Beach 1990. I want to say 96. It may have been the 2001, but I think I'm going to go with 96 because it's pretty early, right? So we're at one of the arm wrestling after show parties, okay? And you know, like you used to get the old like 80s dance films like Footloose or something. I don't know if you've ever seen that out there. If you haven't seen that, go back, check that out. It's good. Kevin Bacon, the original Footloose, lovely dance. Anyway, not to get off track. We go to this do, and at the end of it, they put this circle around like they do in the old films, you know, like circle comes up and everybody has to go in and do the little bit of dancing. So I immediately head to the bar. I'm like, this shit, I'm off, right? But I'm watching. And some of the dancers from amidst those arm wrestlers, you wouldn't have believed. Honestly, you wouldn't have believed the level of dancing was like really high. And you'd think from amongst the girls, I'm talking about the men. Some of the guys, in the way that you just talked about the break dancing, body popping, stuff like that, you should have seen some of the dancers that came out.
Yeah, I can imagine. I have seen some of the Romanian guys that are just crazy. Like,
oh, mate, I was like, what the hell? It really shocked me. There were some great dancers, really, like they were professional dancer level, superb, you know, people doing back flips and into splits, and I'm like, what the hell? Oh, high level stuff. Anyway, little story for you.
Still, most of the arm wrestling after parties, I don't know, it's hard to enjoy them. You come into the bar, you see 10 Kazakhstanian guys sitting next to a bar, and that's it. So it's like, it's very hard to I don't know, to enjoy it. Like,
they're not really rocking.
Yeah. There are no girls, so little girls.
See, that's a shame, isn't it? Because back in the day, the after show parties at Worlds and stuff were mega. Really good. It used to, you know, it was pretty much a must. Everybody attended. And they were really good fun. They got a couple of tables out there. Everybody pulled everybody. You know, it was great. I used to, and you know you're in that situation, particularly after the right arm Worlds, where you're really torn up. Everybody's busted up really bad. And for the first, like, half an hour, you go on the table and you start to pull a few times and you're like, oh, shit. Your joints just feel like they're smashed to bits. You get a couple of
promise yourself you won't do it.
You're never going to do it. And then at like 3 a.m., you find yourself in a deep hook with like some Russian. And you think, what am I doing? And then the next day,
give up, like,
nobody's going to give up. You're like, going jointy as hell. Then the next day, you can see everybody at the airport. Nobody can lift a suitcase. It was like, oh, shit, what have I done? Yeah, good times, mate. I'm gutted to hear that the World's after parties have dropped off. You need to reinstigate that, get it rocking a bit. Somebody needs to take the lead on this, I think, you know? Could you be that guy?
Probably not me, but maybe.
So let's get back to where we were, mate. Obviously, you talked about the karate, and you talked about the swimming, things like that. Were you very serious in those as well? Did you take it to a high level?
Yeah, somehow, just whatever I do, I take it seriously. I cannot, I always end up being serious. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. What
but
kind
of... Not arm wrestling yet.
Oof. Warning shots fired, motherfuckers. What kind of level did you get to in swimming and karate, mate? Were you competing national level, regional level? Where did you go?
Swimming, probably just regional. Karate, just a couple competitions, also probably just local. So not very high, not bad. But again, I only did it for a year or two, not too long. And I remember starting to go to a gym when I was 12 or 13, because one of my classmates really pushed me, and he said, he was a bit chubby, he said, come on, let's go. He needed to improve his physique, and I was just very into sports anyway. And I remember doing it for a month, and I didn't like it. I stopped, like, it was too hard. And then at the age of 16 or 17, started doing it again. Yeah. Did it in one of these Russian style basement.
Okay.
Gyms.
Yeah, like you know the old Rocky III Clubber Lang gym.
Yeah.
Spit and sawdust.
That's how we always used to do it in Lithuania, because like all of these, since we were part of Russia for a while, so everything still looks like Russia. Maybe not anymore, but it used to.
It always used to make me laugh with Rocky 4. You remember Rocky 4?
Yeah.
And you'd like have Rocky, and Rocky was training in Russia and he was training like the ancient way in a barn, doing press-ups and friggin' all this stuff. And then it shows out in Drago and he's training in this like ultra technical gym and it's got all the stuff. And that couldn't be further than the truth in my experience.
Exactly the opposite.
Exactly the opposite. The Russian guys are like curling a cow. There's just they're not doing any of that fancy stuff. However, I do think there's an argument there that they are coming that way. Probably because of Mazurenko, I believe as well. I think Igor has done some amazing stuff for arm wrestling in that respect. Really made it much more professional. The amount of accessories, tools, handles, things of that nature. When you started 12 years ago, that will have been pretty much in its infancy, won't it? That'll have just been starting to trickle into the sport. Did you sort of have any equipment like that at all, or nothing?
So for the couple of first years back in my hometown, we didn't really have much. It was a normal bodybuilding, strongman gym. But when I left for university in the capital city, and these guys already had some tools, and I think one of the guys used to travel in Russia, and I think they maybe in Moscow, so I think they copied some of the tools from them. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say the Russians didn't have any tools. I think they were tricky and they had all the like handmade tools. But yeah, for me,
innovation, their own private little innovation. What about who were the sort of technical leaders in arm wrestling? And that, I mean, the arm wrestlers that I remember were relatively prominent, and I'm going to do dateline check. But Mantas Asmonas may have been in the thick of things then. Was he sort of, and the Grigaitis boys, were they the guys that were sort of and Egle, how can we forget, was there as well. But who were the guys that you were sort of first introduced to in Lithuania?
Yeah, so in Lithuania we have a region which is very interested in arm wrestling. Like so, and I was born in that region, so like it was very good to travel around. All the trips to competitions were pretty short, and we had quite a lot, so that was good. And yeah, you mentioned Egle and Mantas. They both grew up with one of the guys, what was his name? I don't even remember. But I think they were both good because of their trainer. I think they were training in a small town. Mm-hmm. I think it's called Zloty, small town. And all of these good Lithuanian guys came out of that town. And yes, I always had Mantas in the competitions. I could always see he's great. So it was, again, a good level of competition, which made me try harder as well. And
back then, Mantas was about that weight, wasn't he? When he first started, he was this. Was he 154, 70 kilo? Yeah. So, and you would at
not
that
very
age,
tall. He's just like this tall.
Wide as a barn door, but like 2'6". I can imagine that when he's in a crowded elevator, it smells really different from when I am. But regardless of that, you will have been younger then. Obviously, you're saying you were 18 years old, and I'm not imagining that you came in and were bang, hit the ground running. It's been a progress for you, but
yeah, so very long progress. Yeah.
Were you slightly lighter than now when you first started? Were you sort of 65 to 70 kilo, or were you where you are now at 75?
Since the age of 15, 16, I was around 67. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really grow much. Just now I'm 77, by the way, so I'm getting ready for WL.
Mate, that's a slippery slope. You need to be watching that weight, because I used to be like 85 kilos, and now I'm heavier than that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Mate, you want to hear something really bad? I'll tell you when you need to start worrying. I get tagged in on a post a few minutes ago, like an hour ago or something, right? And Aussie Arm Wrestler. You know Jake, Aussie Arm Wrestler? Great guy, Jake. Lovely lad. Shout out to Jake. Love Jake. If you haven't checked out Aussie Arm Wrestler, go check that guy's stuff out. Great bloke. Anyway, he's put this thing together. You may have seen it. It's got choose your team of 3, okay? So you've got these guys put into sections, 5 teams of 3, and the first section appears to be the super heavyweight division, right?
So of course Neil Pickups goes into that. Right?
Mother, I am in the super heavyweight division. I'm sick.
That's what happens, Neil. That's what happens.
I know, mate. Honestly, terrible for me. That is. Really, really gutted. Super heavyweights, I'm not happy. Anyway, we'll leave that there. I should have been middleweight.
I think I'm very good at controlling weight. I think I have no problem. Like, the diet is just so on point after these 12 years.
Are you very, very strict with your nutrition? Is that something you really pay attention to?
I wouldn't say strict. It's not like I'm, I don't eat or something.
But is it planned? You know, are you conscious of intake of protein, of carbs? Do you monitor that at all? No.
Everything has to be very simple and very easy. Like I'll not spend time on counting macros or anything. No, never. No. But I just have a good way to make it easy and still eat healthy and still stay slim.
Do you think you have a naturally fast metabolism?
Yes.
That's a great thing.
Which I am saving as much as I can. Mm-hmm. Meaning no shit into my body.
Yeah. It's can you eat like anything you want and not put on weight? Are you that guy? Can you go to the pizza house, just order the 16-inch and come out, wolf it down, wake up the next day? I could do it
for a while, but not forever. No.
No, you do put weight on.
I have seen you eating some shitty ramen the other day. What was that about?
Mate, you know, one of the problems, right? I do the fix. I do the fix show I challenge anybody not to try and just put a pair of shades on and eat some popcorn when you're on there with Ryan Bowen and Ray, right? Because some of the stuff, 90% of the best stuff in that show happens when we're not actually recording, because we couldn't possibly put out what comes out. But that in itself is not good. But for me, the main thing has always been that I have the metabolism of a walrus. I mean, not good. I can put on weight. I can walk past a bag of crisps and put weight on. You know, so when I was competing at middleweight, I had to really be conscious of that. Hence because you're not a short guy. How tall are you, Mindy? Like what? 5'11", 6 foot?
What is that in centimeters?
Oh my God, I don't know. Let me just take a ruler out. Be back in a second. Right, so now I just need to work out what 11 inches is over that bit. Anyway, but
Forget it.
We'll say
I'm 180.
180, so I reckon that is around 5'11". I'm going to try and convert that while we're going. I'll continue to ask you questions while we're going on that. But if you were, do you have like what I describe as wingspan? Is your leverage pretty solid as well? You look at someone like Devon Larratt, and he has got disproportionately long forearms, disproportionately long arms for the height. Where do you class yourself in that respect?
Devon is pretty proportional. I wouldn't say he's disproportionate.
Oh, God, you're kidding me, man. He's ridiculous.
But he's tall.
That guy can change his bloody bedroom light when he's lying in bed. He can literally he's got ridiculously long arms. If you look at him when he's stood just normally, when you're walking around, next time you see him out at a tournament, just look at him. His hands come just above his friggin' knees. He's got really, really long arms. We had a guy in the
but that's
UK.
Normal, isn't it?
No, mate. I
can
not
touch
normal.
my knee now. Like.
What, when you stood up? Get out of here. Stand up. Yeah, but you're having a lean.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, it's at that level. He's got you can see he looks like disproportionately long arms, which is a great thing for this game.
Well, I don't think he can still do it because now he's like this.
Actually, it's a good point. Well put. He has lots of ability. I'll tell you another guy who's really bad for that, and he's getting worse. Pascal Girard. God, we had Pascal on the show. Oh, mate, he was on the show the other day, and when he stands up, his arm is literally, it's ridiculous. Very, very poor range of motion. Anyway, we digress. Looking at when you came into the sport, mate, at sort of 18, were you sort of straight away, did you hit the ground running? I'm assuming you came into competition rather than you were sort of spotted somewhere and just taken into a club. How did it sort of come about for you? What was What was the catalyst?
Yeah, so let's start at the beginning again. I remember doing pull-ups one summer, looking at my hands and thinking, shit, like they should be pretty big when I grow up. Like, but they end up being pretty normal. I don't know, they're not huge. So the first time I saw that arm wrestling competitions exist, of course I wanted to try myself, and I thought I would be pretty good just because of the whole like strength and everything. But no, apparently not really. Like these other guys in my hometown were doing it for already before me, going to competitions before me. So no, couldn't win a simple competition in between schools, like, and far away, like very far away.
Wow, surprised.
But then started to train more. A couple months later, went into I think there was a competition in my hometown, and I think they are still doing it up until now, every year, once a year. So I did that and got second. Was quite happy about it, but again, just second in my hometown, so it wasn't very easy, right? And then little by little started going into nationals, juniors first. I think I still had 1 year in juniors, just because I started at the age of 17, so it's not too much time. And for a couple of years I was just number 4 or number 3, and then little by little started to climb up. So I wouldn't say it was easy from the start.
And did you when you first came into the sport, most people don't have any technique or any technical leaning really. If they do, they tend to be more towards that just simple try and cut the wrist and push down. Were you very similar to that, or did you have natural inclination to apply back pressure? What was your thing?
I remember at the beginning I really had no good idea which way should I go. And nobody really taught me, just because the gym itself wasn't really an arm wrestling gym. Some people knew about arm wrestling, but no one really did it constantly. I remember I kept asking guys to come and arm wrestle, because there was a table, one single table, standing in the corridor. And I really put a lot of effort into convincing other people to come and arm wrestle with me. But nobody really showed me the right technique or anything.
Had you seen it before, mate? Had you watched arm wrestling, on TV? Had you watched any of the Arm Wars stuff? Had you watched anything on Eurosport or any of the past stuff that had been put out, or was it sort of just learn as you go from the feel of the table?
So I think I started to watch it at some point, but not at the beginning. Somehow at the beginning I was just doing it by myself, and then. So trying, of course, right from the beginning I understood that there is no way to win inside against another big guy, strong guy. That was somehow very obvious. So having a bigger hand, I would try to work a bit more on the hand. But it took me a while to figure out how the top roll works and everything.
Yeah.
And I think when I went to the capital city, then I met this guy, Šarūnas Manarka. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yes.
So that guy taught me a lot. Like he was already good. He knew all the exercises, and they already had some tools. So did a lot of back pressure and rising like this. And then after doing that, you can instantly feel that, okay, that's the right way to go.
Sure.
But yeah, again, back to the point, like it was never really easy. But I liked it, and I took it as another game. I was never ever in a hurry to win. My wins are still in the future, so maybe then I'm like 35.
Did you have pain?
Sorry?
Did you have pain? Some people, the reason I asked the question is that some people, I think there's sort of an indicative pain threshold that you'll experience. I'm not saying anybody goes in there and doesn't have any pain. I think most people experience some degree of pain from arm wrestling. But for some people, for example, we had a guy in the UK called Paul Mitchell. Okay. Now, the Wigan Warrior, Paul Mitchell. Not necessarily a good technician, not a technically proficient arm wrestler, but extremely strong, joint strong, Toddzilla type guy. Just got those rock strong joints. And he never has any pain, doesn't get hurt. And from when he came in as a novice, pushing sideways, he was getting wins. He was very brutal in his style, very material style of arm wrestling, tendon, ligament, bone, no pain. So he obviously has a propensity for joint strength. He's got very, very thick, solid joints. And I'm trying to tie that back really to your earlier comment about the fact that you'd done pretty joint intensive exercise from a young age, so the muscle ups, which, let's be honest, that's a pretty brutal movement for a young person.
It really conditions your tendons and joints as well.
Yeah, big time.
Especially if you go rough, if you want to hit 40.
And do you think that did carry over? Did you experience much or any joint pain when you started the sport, win or lose?
Yeah, I think initially I remember coming back home with my hands and arms shaking. But I think all the pain comes from you being in a nice locked position and then just losing it but still trying to, resist.
Yeah.
I think nowadays when I'm just going, I feel the pressure, I'm just working down. I never really open the lock, so you don't really break through it. I think that results in much less pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in anything, if you are taken through your elastic limit, the elastic limits of you, then that's when you experience that sort of over the top level of atrophy, or complete and utter joint destruction, one of the two. So what sort of led you into arm wrestling, mate? Why arm wrestling? If you hadn't really seen it and you hadn't there must have been something that. Was it just the one-on-one competition? Was it? Did you sort of fall across it? How did it come up? Why did you do that?
Somehow I always had a feeling that I will be good at it. And it's always nice to win. So why not? Competition is very nice. Somehow the feeling, as we all know, arm wrestling has a special feeling when you feel that you are stronger than your opponent and then you control him. It's a very special sensation.
Yep.
And then, I don't know, it's just a nice hobby. It's a cheap hobby. You don't have to spend much money on it initially. So my family was never too rich, just a very regular. I couldn't easily start hockey where I need to buy all that stuff, and so that's part of the thing. I don't know. It's nice to win.
And was it an instant attraction for you when you started arm wrestling? Did you sort of dabble in it, come back, dabble in it, come back? How was that path? I'm interested because you said that when you first started, you didn't win. Most of the guys that we have on the show say, yeah, I came into the sport and right away as a novice, I was crushing fools. You're like, I was like really ordinary, didn't do that well,
Yeah, you can even see how, if you watch some of these European or World Championship videos, you could see how I used to be like number 15, number 10, number 8, number 10 again, number 12. Number 6 at some point, and then slowly like number 3, 4. Like now I'm top 3, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
But yeah, I don't know. Like even if I used to lose at the beginning, I think I still liked it immediately, just because I had a plan on winning later. So now I plan to win to really win at the age of maybe 35. I don't really want to push it now, just because it has to be easy, has to be enjoyable. And I think it's a better strategy to take it easy. Like so many people are very hungry for the wins, early wins, and we end up just fucking up big joints and everything else.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
It's a game over.
And it sounds like you've obviously had that bred into you a little bit from the way that you were brought up, as you say, which is a very healthy way of doing it, really. How do you react to a loss, Mindaugas? Does it bother you? When you lose, does it mess with you mentally? Because I'm going to say you love the mind games, mate. Whenever we've spoken, we've had you on the shows before, we had it on the podcast, you do not mind. Maybe it's that fight mentality that you gain from your competitions in karate or whatever, or just you're naturally, but you enjoy the mind games, mate. Yeah,
yeah, I do. I really do. Just let me play, I will play.
Mm-hmm.
And the losses would never really affect me at all. No, I just enjoy it.
Who were the inspirations for you in the sport? Who were the guys that you look when you first became aware of? Okay, this is that guy. This is that girl. This is that. Who were the people that you looked up to and thought, yeah, I like that. I like that style. I like who that person is. I like that persona or that approach because you got your own unique thing going here, without a doubt. There's nobody that's really dead like you. Probably the nearest would be Janis.
Mm-hmm. Having spent a lot of time in the gym in Vilnius with all these, it was again another Russian style basement gym. Many of the guys around me would look up to the guys like Siplenko or some other like very big and muscular guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I was never really muscular, so I was always looking at Devon. I think Devon is really my inspiration. Always.
Yep.
Kept following it. That's why I was a bit sad when Devon is now a King's mover, doesn't manage to fix his elbow problems and everything else. So that's a bit sad. But let's see.
It's funny though when you speak to Dev, he is. I think Devon's a very smart man, and Devon obviously courts controversy quietly, not so in your face as Travis Pageant, but he knows that. Him doing what he does in the King's move, there's a couple of points to it. Number one, it's the route less travelled and more difficult for people to defend and counter at this stage, particularly because of his leverage advantages, his natural leverage advantages. And he's built that pronator to, number one, benefit his joints. He's not taking that elbow abuse in the way that he used to. I'm not sure that it is that he can't fix his joints. Speaking to him on the phone the other day, he called me the other day and was saying that he feels really strong right now. I actually spoke to him about a potential matchup. How did he feel he'd go with the likes of Michael, the likes of Levan Saganishvili? And he felt like it'd be a lot more interesting than people think in either case. So whether that's just his own confidence or whether he really believes that, there was nobody there was no show, we weren't on anything, it was just me and him talking, so I got the feeling he meant every word of it, I really do.
In my opinion, on Devon's career, I think he just really fell in love with all the static exercises because we all know that's almost the best thing to do. You just get a very nice lock after doing that. Mm-hmm. But then you still have to stay healthy and you have to come back to some nice full range pull-ups or something. I think if he would do a bit more of these, he could really maybe be a bit more healthy.
What would you say is your balance in terms of fast twitch, slow twitch fiber?
Probably very slow, yeah.
Yeah, because that's one thing that within this, I wanted to get that in early in this interview. A lot of top rollers tend to identify themselves with, that explosive hit. We've seen guys with great success. I used to utilize that a great deal, and there's a number of others that do. But you are definitely that sort of slow, controlling movement. You wrestle on the counter a great deal. Very, very similar to Devon. You pull on the counter, and yet you haven't got anywhere near the same leverage advantage. But you do have tremendous pronation strength. Was that something that you picked up from Devon, or was it from others?
It's probably that guy Sharunas who teach me to go backwards and roll. He's still doing that up until now. I think that's what I was trying to copy.
Yeah, so it was emulating that.
But let me think. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Devon a little bit, but not really.
Do you actively train the pronator a lot, or just the back pressure?
Just the back pressure. I never really did this,
Yeah.
Always just straight. One more thing I can say is that I think pretty early I figured out also that speed is not really that important, even though many people would say that it is. But as soon as you know how to counter it, how to catch the hit, how to stop it, it's really not that important. Like, normally the guy who looks like he's so fast and quick and won easily, he could still win slowly. Like, so of course, if you don't know how to catch the hit, you will end up getting destroyed. But throughout all these years in doing the Europeans and Worlds, I think I have the system how to really catch the guy, so no problem. I don't worry about the speed. I just stop them, and then it's the power game, then lock game and tendon game.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, very interesting insight. I'm not sure I agree with that it isn't important. The degree of importance against a potential adversary, I think, is really key. If you've got a guy who is clearly much stronger than you, I think speed can be deadly. Case in point would be someone like, for example, Todzilla. Todd could be beaten by an arm wrestler who is blisteringly quick if they go through his power. I think Todd is easier to beat if you go directly through him at ridiculous speed. Give you an example. I don't think that if Todd and Rustam Babayev started inside and eased into the pressure, eased into the power, I don't think Rustam could beat Todd. In fact, I'd bet a lot of money that Todd would beat Rustam.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the comparison I'm making. I think Rustam's fast twitch, explosive, straight into Todd is driven so out of position that he never gets to engage it, you know. So I think I agree 100% with what you're saying in terms of that. If the strength gap is anywhere close, I agree 100%. I just think that if you could get that layer on to your game, if you could make you know, that fast twitch, or, you know what, I'm going to say something here, not necessarily fast twitch, and we can take this up offline when I actually see you. I think there's an additional layer you can put onto your game by utilising unorthodox movement.
True, like explode in some weird directions.
Yeah, but it's a tracer round. It's never there. It's a jab. So that's there. We'll go through that in a lot more detail when I see you. We can go through a table. I can show you some stuff, but it's interesting. Again,
the example that you gave on Todd and Babayev, this is a very extreme example. The guys Todd is mainly working on being slow, and so normally it's never really the case. Like I'm also, if I want to be fast, I can be fast. It's not really a problem. So like. But I just don't want to be fast, just because, like, if you train like Babayev, if you have to explode all the time, I know I enjoy it much more by holding and just feeling how much stronger I am. That's a better feeling for me.
Yeah, you like the control. You prefer to have that control, and to be that plays more into your strength. It certainly looks like it.
If I explode on the guy and he doesn't even put tension in his muscles before I pin him, it's not really fun anymore to me. I feel like I'm cheating him. So,
I understand. You want to go through. You want to feel that power, and you want to take that away.
Exactly. That's a big part of arm wrestling fun, right?
Yes, it is. I agree, 100%. The biggest part. I've won many tournaments where I've flashed through people, and I agree. Sometimes you're like, it's a bit shit.
Because also if you end up flashing everyone and you are good only at flashing everyone and you cannot ever go slow, like for example, Babayev couldn't go slow against Todd because he would lose. So then you are kind of forced to flash people, and then it's like, I don't know, you feel bad about being slow because you just lose.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Some of my favourite arm wrestling moments aren't matches that I won. You know, I used to actually love pulling much bigger, stronger guys because there was something really exciting in that. I mean, I always said Todzilla. I would have loved to pull the best version of Todzilla when I was at my best. I don't necessarily think I could beat him. And I really don't give a shit whether I could or I couldn't. But I think it would have been a cool-ass experience, you know? Yeah. It would have just been fun. Because I'm 99.9% sure I would have taken his hand and wrist pretty easily. I don't think he'd dispute that. But I would have loved to see if I could do anything from there, because he's so strong, you know? And other guys like that. When you get a guy that's really, really, really powerful, it's fun. It's exciting. It's like trying to land a giant fish, you know? You can just feel all that power. You're like, holy shit. It's good. It's entertaining. So, yeah, I agree with that 100%. Mate, I am conscious we are 50 minutes into this first part of Deep Inside with Mindaugas Tarasaitis. And we are going to be back. This guy has lots more to say, and we're going to dig a little bit deeper into this guy's career and his opinions of things. If this is your first visit to the Supernatural Strength channel, ladies and gents, please like, share, subscribe, let people know about what we do. And we'll be back with more from Mindaugas very soon. Until that time, ladies and gents, take it easy, peeps.